All right, and we are live. Not a big opening there. Somebody asked what the music was. Well, that was a little playlist I found on YouTube of music designed to soothe autistic people, and I figured we were going to need that for tonight. Um, so let's get the text off here. All right, and we're going to hop into the voice chat. If I can get everything to work, which is always fun. So we got some blood sports here. Sorry, folks, I'm letting people in the Discord know. All right. So let me hop into the voice.
It didn't even go live.
We're live. All right. So, all right. Real quick, somebody say something.
Bechtloff is a cock-sucking nigger faggot.
All right. Lovely. Okay. So, sounds like the audio's all right. All right. So we got in this voice call, we got Not Important Ian McDonald, who is the guy who runs the Discord server for the Bechtloff Show. We got a couple of frequents to the Discord server who are not fans of each other. We got Tom Bombadil and Gradall, both in the voice chat here.
Hello, folks.
Yeah, Brad had to go take a piss.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll get started here in a minute. Yeah. So that's gonna be the first thing we're gonna be doing tonight. This was gonna get done on Ian McDonald's channel, but he couldn't figure out Hangouts, which I don't entirely blame him for. YouTube's not the most user-friendly thing in the world.
Yeah, the start stream button didn't even show up.
You know, I've had that problem before, but that was like somehow I clicked the wrong thing where it wasn't a public stream. But what's weird is it was on your channel saying starting soon. So
Yeah, Gratile nearly doxed himself just now.
Yeah, I heard there was a little bit of drama involved in that. Almost had his real name up there.
Just more like being dumb.
No, I just don't understand the service at all. Like, I don't use Hangouts.
Oi.
You know, it just dawned on me who your voice, Gradall, reminds me of Phaelus.
Who's that?
It's one of the old
He's
Channel Awesome guys.
horror,
It's the one who's banging Lupa, so he's got a little bit of my respect. Yeah. Like if I ever saw him at a con, I wouldn't even say why. I'd just go up to him and I'd be like, "Good for you," and then just walk away. Like just. All right. So who wants to start? I know you guys have had some words with each other on the Discord.
Well, it's not my first time. I feel like I'm helping this guy learn to walk. So you want to go first, buddy?
So exactly, what the fuck are you? You're are you a Catholic or are you a Protestant? Are you a Wiccan? What are you?
I'm a Protestant who's probably converting to Catholicism.
Oh, really?
What are you?
Just a Protestant.
But what denomination are you?
Baptist.
I'm getting feedback from someone.
It sounds alright on mine.
I'll mute myself.
All right.
What denomination?
I said Baptist.
Okay, what kind of Baptist?
Not too specific. I'm attending a Southern Baptist church, but you know, there's issues going on in there.
Yeah, there are. Yeah,
Yep.
there are. A bunch of pussy whips.
Yep, pretty much.
Feminists.
Well, not feminists, not yet. Well, there's probably some level of that too. Let's be real.
Who's the president of the SBC right now? What's his name?
Some retard.
Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
at least you're honest about it. That's good.
Well,
So-
that's the thing. It's there's their leadership. They're starting to go downhill.
Do you know why? Do you know why the Baptists were founded?
Something to do with the Southern Baptist Church had something to do with slavery, right?
A slave owner wanted to be a missionary and he couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Is that something you want to be associated with?
I kind of don't care.
So how you gonna? That's just how you're gonna shit on Catholics when you go to a shitty Southern Baptist church that's quickly becoming just another fem Nazi camp.
I'm fine at the moment, but once it gets to that level, I'll probably head to a non-Southern Baptist church. So it's really not an issue.
Okay, and where are you gonna go next? Where are you gonna go next?
Maybe a Free Will Baptist church, maybe an Independent Baptist church.
What even is that? Like, what state are you in?
I don't need to dox myself more.
You pussy.
It's really
Of course you laugh.
nothing to do with. It's really nothing to do with the state, though. So
Well, Baptist, they're in. You got Baptists in the United States, and a few. You got Korean. Maybe you go to Korean Baptist church. How about that?
I'd have to look into it, but maybe.
You got Korean Baptists. You know, you can find yourself a nice Korean waifu. I doubt it. You could try.
Well, as we all know, North Korea is the best Korea. So Tom, why are you?
It's the only Korea.
Why are you converting to Catholicism?
I actually do want to hear about that. How about you go into it?
I thought you were the moderator, Bechtloff.
This isn't the halls of debate. Take that shit to Reddit.
I mean, we'd both like to know.
You got a 50-foot dick in your mouth, Bechtloff.
Exactly. This is just letting two people call in because I think it'd be fun to hear them yell at each other. So no, I'm not interested in fucking. This isn't a friendly conversation. I don't give a shit about that. But no, why are you converting to Catholicism? I'd like to hear this.
It was when I started praying the rosary. I just started realizing it just opened my eyes to Mary, and a lot of Catholic theology kind of just made sense to me.
So Mary is your new god now.
No, that's not what they believe.
It opened your eyes to Mary.
It's not what they believe. It's not what they believe at all. It's not even like worth responding to.
It is.
So-
Good on you for noticing that.
So Protestants, the biggest thing they'll say is Catholics believe in works, and if you go look at James 2:24, I just hear Pastor Thomas getting like a raging theology boner. I've talked about this in so many sanctification hours. It literally says you're not saved by faith alone, and Protestants. That's not even what the Protestant Reformation was about, but they rage about that faith versus works things, and it's like, look at the Book of James. It's not even faith alone.
It says faith without.
I think it's mainly. Faith is what gets you saved, but works do hold their own importance on some level. But it's mainly faith. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and you guys don't. So most Protestants don't do.
It's
Okay, so
Catholics throw that one verse out there and ignore several other verses that talk about justification by faith. You know,
Yep.
as Pastor Tom has said numerous times on here, you're saved by a faith alone, but it's not a faith that is alone. You know, that faith inevitably produces good works.
And you're naturally going to want to do good works if you have faith.
Yeah, so really, this argument, it's semantics. If you ask me, I think both sides are right and both sides are wrong. But to answer your question, there's never meant to be all these splinter churches. We were meant to be under one church.
We were meant to be led by communist pedophiles.
No, and that's
Yeah, that's the
literally
thing. Which church?
Yeah, then can we pick a different church than the Catholic Church to be the true one? Because
I feel like I get.
No, you fix the church. You fix it. You don't leave like a pussy.
How are you going to fix it? This is a question I asked somebody else, and I'm not going to get into this. But how exactly do you intend to fix it?
Well, I'm not.
Why not the Orthodox Church?
No, they're not. They're not.
What are the mechanisms within the
Why are they
Catholic
not the
Church? Well, no. What are the mechanisms within the Catholic Church that allow you as a layperson any leverage to fix things?
Okay, so Bechtloff, you seem to like Church Militant a lot, and you like to cherry pick stuff that they do against Catholicism. But one of the things they're doing to fix it is they're calling for the Pope to resign, and that's making huge waves. People are responding. Priests on Twitter, are responding.
Okay, there's a couple of things about
what did it take for them to start doing that? This recent scandal that should have happened a while ago.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of Church Militant. I really just frequently quote the one article because I quote one article. I don't think I've read anything else by Church Militant, because I don't have much interest in it. But first of all,
okay, so
if we get Pope Francis resigns, I know exactly what's going to happen. I know exactly what's going to happen.
Going to get a pope just
Every
like him.
trad Catholic is going to walk around and be like, see, now we fixed it because it's been swept back under the rug. It's not in their face anymore. It's not inignorable. So they're going to go right back to how they were a few years ago with their eyes shut and their fingers in their ears, pretending there's no problem. Because that is an incredible skill trad Catholics have. I remember in the turn of the century, around 2000, 2001, when the scandals were breaking in a big way, and all these conservative Catholics were acting shocked, like, I had no idea. Like, really, motherfucker? Because the world did. Like, it's been a joke since before I was born, and it's been happening since at least before my father was born.
Do you think celibacy is the problem? Do you think it's celibacy?
I don't have a strong opinion on that. Honestly,
I think loosening it could help, but I think the biggest thing they need is to prosecute the pedophiles instead of moving them to new parishes.
I think the biggest problem, if you're going to get right down to it, now, again, I don't have a strong opinion. I see people's point when they say that celibacy is a problem, and I don't understand the idea of having I want my leader of my church to be a family man. I don't want some confirmed bachelor his whole damn life. That seems a little off to me. But whatever. I don't have a very strong opinion on whether or not the celibacy thing should be undone. What's the biggest problem is much, much more systemic. There is no real accountability to the Catholic Church leadership. There's no.
They need to enforce the law is what they need to do.
Yeah, there's no way for the trad Catholics, or there's no way for the Catholic laymen to they have no philosophical grounds, really, because they view the church as the authority, but they also have no pragmatic grounds, really, to hold their leaders accountable. There's none. So, of course, there's abuses. Abuses are inevitable. Abuses are the history of the Catholic Church. Of course, there's going to be abuses of some sort.
So, leadership is so overrun by heretics, I can't see them fixing it either.
So, yeah, I would argue the problems are far more systemic to just how the leadership is structured.
The Eastern Orthodox Church, you don't see that going on, and they seem to have similar theology.
Yeah, you have far more, to use the American phrase, checks and balances going on with the power structure of the Eastern Orthodox Church than you do in the Catholic Church. And shockingly enough, you don't seem to have as much corruption.
you only have like 200 million Orthodox, and there's 1.2 billion Catholics. So the like over a billion is the same amount as
it.
Orthodox.
So that's it, bandwagon policy?
Not bad. It's easier when you have a smaller organization, and the problems are going to be...
Yeah, but no. The big
really
organization...
annoying.
No, because it's not like... this isn't like a problem with the Muslims, where Muslims are just fucking violent, and, you know, because you gotta... No, it's not like lay Catholic people are diddling kids. No, this isn't. This is a problem in their leadership structure, and there sure as hell ain't 1.2 billion priests.
You know, each individual church should be able to...
No, there's 400,000... Let's see, 400,000 priests in America. Do you think there's 400,000 pedophiles?
I think that there's 400,000 people that share fucking guilt.
Wait, how many people are in each individual church? Can't they run their own pretty easily? They just have to call the cops and lock those pedophiles up.
Yeah, it looks like there's a... Yeah, so there's 400,000... No, there's 70,000 Catholic priests in the United States. And maybe there's, what, like 100... Say there's like a few hundred pedophiles.
Okay, and how many people are there that know that there's those pedophiles and they're covering it up? That's the problem.
Not 70,000.
That's the problem inherent there. It's that they circle their wagons around the guilty parties and protect them. That's the real problem. I'm not mad that pedophiles worm their way into an organization, because pedophiles are going to do that. It's the sad reality. There's going to be pedophiles as long as there's people. There's going to be sick motherfuckers, and predators are going to go where the prey is. Just like, you know, no matter how clean you keep your house, every once in a while a mouse or a roach or something's going to worm its way into your house. But if you don't just look the other way, you fucking deal with it.
This is why SJWs are winning, because they're not expressly endorsing, but they trust. There's trust, and I'm sure the Catholic priest would just trust that the leadership higher up is going to fix it.
Well, they were wrong to do that, weren't they? Because it wasn't happening.
No, they're right, because it's happening right now.
Oh, is it? Because I mean, I heard that same shit in 2000, 2001. Oh, it's cool. It's cool. We're cleaning this up. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here, folks.
How many times do you stick your hand in a fire before you realize that's a bad idea?
Yeah, how many times do I have to hear them say, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got it. We got it cleaned up. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along. We had a little bit of a problem.
Your kids there.
A little bit of a problem there. With about 70 years worth of kid diddling, at least. But it's cool. It's cool, man. This time... It's like Monday, Monday Matt. This time I'm not flagging you. Like, no, there's no credibility here.
The Catholic Church is like Monday Matt. This post out in New York Times. That's
yeah. No, it was credibility. Yeah.
No, it's not what you do. If you
Although, in all fairness, I don't believe Monday Matt's molested children, so he's got that going for him.
He cares more about Star Wars than children.
He likes boulders.
And collecting boulders.
He's boulder sexual.
Boulder sexual. Well,
he needs to get his rocks off.
That's fantastic.
That's great. Yeah. So whatever. We read the Bible as Protestants, and if we read the Bible, you see you got wicked kings, and they don't go and form a new nation. You know, it's still Israel. You can't just go. I'm going to go form
the
Pakistan
wicked kings
now.
are penalized, though. They're usually...
It takes time.
God usually gets rid of them. But what's going on here? They're moved to new churches.
How about pick one and look at what actually happens? Like, you have King Saul, all right? He took a long time to get taken off of his throne. It didn't happen overnight. And the whole point was King David took the time to let the process play out. Like, he could have killed him. He just cut off the hem of his garment. Okay, well, you have to follow due process.
It's been 70 years. How much more time do they want?
Stuff is happening. I don't know. I mean...
Well, I've heard that before.
But you want it to burn to the ground, Bechtloff, and when that
I'd be cool with that, yeah. Well, in all fairness, I mean, not in a literal sense, because I don't want to burn all the art. It's more just, you know, I wish to see the power structure completely annihilated. But yeah, if I wake up tomorrow morning and a meteor wiped out Vatican City, I'll be like, cool. Not gonna lose a lot of sleep over that. Again, kind of ashamed to lose all those pretty paintings, but oh well.
They're the ones taking all the flack. You think the Southern Baptist Convention is going to be able to stand up to the entirety of SJW Blue Hairdom?
No, I don't. That's why I'm leaving when that happens.
And you think your little snake handling church down the street is going to be able to handle it? Or are you going to go to?
I need to look in. There's so.
Oh, they have the right theology. They're going to win because if our theology's right.
I didn't say that.
On the world.
No, I didn't say that. I said Baptists are a diverse group. I can just look around and see which one's the least corrupt.
If you go to the Free Will Baptists, we're going to tell the Calvinists they're wrong, and then it's going to win back America. You're an idiot. It's not going to work.
When did I ever say that? Wait, when the fuck did I ever say that? I don't care about winning back America. No.
What do you care about then? You want to have your theology right on your little piece of paper?
No, I just wanted to be able to. I want to be able to attend church, worry about my own life. I don't care about the country.
Selfish bitch.
I want to. Yeah, I'm selfish because I want to have church leadership I could trust around children.
Like America's so far
like I don't understand that. I don't understand.
Statistically safer. A Catholic priest is still statistically safer. You see these public school teachers sleeping with 17-year-olds.
Wait, statistically, half of them are homos, probably hiding their pedophilia.
Whatever, it's still statistically safer.
Okay, cool. I'm not going to send my kid to a public school either.
Statistic.
That's like saying that herpes is better than AIDS. I don't want either. Like, I guess herpes isn't as bad.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. Only 49% of them are gay, which means most of them aren't gay.
Bechtloff, you're not going to have the money to homeschool your kids. Be real. You're setting the public school, and they're gonna get freaking taught to be hellraisers. It's gonna be you would wish you could afford Catholic school. Your kids are gonna turn out so bad.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me?
Oh no!
Are you kidding me with Catholic school?
Send kids to a secular school and teach them that tranny garbage is nonsense.
Are you kidding me with the Catholic school thing? Come on, man. There's a reason Catholic schoolgirls being loose is a meme.
They'd be more likely to turn out gay if a pedo priest touches them.
The Protestant Church, Huffington Post is ready. They're sitting there with all these articles how the Protestant Church is worse. It's worse than the Catholic Church.
Wait. For one.
Yeah.
No. Protestants are a number of different denominations. The Catholic Church, you said yourself, is just one fucking church.
If you take conservative, actually Bible-believing Protestant churches, there is no comparison between that and the sexual abuse scandals in the Catholic Church. I'll grant you that, like, some old Methodist fucking denomination in New England that has a dyke pastor is probably just as bad. But who the fuck cares? That's a dead branch. I don't care about them. If you look at the actually, Bible-believing, vibrant, conservative Protestant denominations, be it evangelical, be it Southern Baptist, be it non-denominational, unaffiliated ones, just even your shitty mega churches with Joel Osteen types, the sexual abuse scandals, it's not even comparable. When there are sexual abuse scandals, it always turns out to be the pastor, is banging the secretary, or worst case scenario, he got caught banging some dude, and he is immediately cast out into the fucking wilderness, which I would argue is almost erring on the side of being too harsh. Like, that guy is fucking gone. Nobody circles the wagons around him. Nobody protects him. Nobody transfers him to another church. Nobody says he's a good boy, didn't do nothing. They cast his ass the fuck out. And he is never spoken of again. And that's how conservative Protestants deal with sex scandals. Sex scandals, I might add, that are almost... I don't remember the last time I heard of a conservative Protestant sex scandal that didn't involve two consenting adults. And while that doesn't make it right, it sure as fuck makes it less wrong.
Right.
Also, Tom, You know how I'm constantly complaining about Pentecostalism and charismatic theology? You're lumping me into a group with those people by saying Protestants are worse. You do not understand the piss logic there.
No, you try to play both sides. You say, oh, Protestants are different, but then you want to be Baptist but not Pentecostal.
No. Protestants, they're different from each other.
Do Catholics like getting lumped in with the fucking Orthodox? Because from where I'm sitting, there's not a whole hell of a lot of difference. Okay.
So when these mega churches like let's talk about real examples, like Mark Driscoll. You remember Mark Driscoll, Paper Alpha guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was kind of a mean guy. He kind of bullied people and his staff. So they shut down his whole Mars Hill Church network, and all the sheep got scattered. All those people who, this is what
leadership was held accountable. Okay, glad to hear it.
And the people, see, you don't understand. If you just destroy the Catholic Church, all these people they're gonna go astray. They're gonna go to hell. They're not gonna go to the Baptist church down the street.
They won't go to the Baptist church, but they might go to the Lutheran church, the Orthodox church. Maybe they won't go anywhere, but you know.
If the Catholic Church, like what you're saying you're wanting for the Catholic Church, like America would fall apart if the Catholic
Church would fall apart.
Yeah, America would fall apart.
Here's the thing, Tom. Here's where I differ from Bechtloff a bit. I'm not saying I want the Catholic Church to completely fall. I just want their leadership structure to be fixed, and I don't think that's going to happen.
It's happening right now.
I do not see it happening. Did it happen last time? You guys thought it was happening last time.
See, they had a big 20-year plan like Sargon that they started back in 2000, and it's just now kicking into full gear.
And it goes back to they were Marian apparitions of all things that literally warned them.
Yes, I know. She appeared on PETA's. That's fucking fantastic. You know, I had a gyro for lunch. I didn't see her on there, but I didn't really check. Maybe I didn't look hard enough.
So you become a Catholic not because of what's happening now. You become a Catholic because of what happened 2,000 years ago. Right? That's because they're the original church. Okay, the Baptists.
Wait, don't the Eastern Orthodox say they're the original church? I've had Presbyterians say they're the original church. I've had Pentecostals say that they're trying to come back to the original church. Every denomination I've known of, they've all claimed that they're tied to the original church.
No. You have some that are trying to resuscitate it, and you have others that try to lay claim to a lineage. Only the Orthodox.
Either way, they claim they're going back to the original church.
Okay, but if you look at the Bible, the point was the church was never supposed to die at some point.
Okay, see, the church, in the broad sense of the total body of believers on the world, does not die. No, but in the Book of Revelations, for example, that book isn't just prophecy. There are 7 letters to 7 different churches in 7 different cities at the beginning of that book. And one of them, I don't remember the exact one. I don't have the text in front of me. A couple of them, maybe, I think even, Christ says, I will take the lampstand away from this church because they have died. This branch on the vine is dead.
Okay, yeah, sure, but
why does the Vatican, which is run by homosexual communist pedophiles, think that they are immune to that?
Okay, you have 2 popes right now, and that hasn't happened in hundreds of years. So
it's like that sitcom, My Two Dads.
Wait, can you explain this 2 popes thing?
So when you have a living pope like Benedict and then another pope like Francis, that's something that happens very rarely. And in times past, there were anti-popes. That's not something that phases a Catholic historian. That there were anti-popes in the past, and they're able to distinguish that. And I think here we can see which one's the anti-pope.
Oh Christ! It sounds like a.
Can you guess?
You guys can't seem to figure out who the real pope is another thing I noticed.
Wait.
Yep. Here's another thing to go back to earlier. So you're saying
you can't handle conflict. You can't handle conflict. If your pastor gets caught looking at porn, you leave the church. You go somewhere else.
I don't leave the porn. I don't leave the church.
You look at porn too.
I don't leave the church if my pastor was caught looking at porn. I
Neither
might leave
do-
the church if
neither
my
do I.
pastor had his dick in an 8-year-old boy's ass, though.
I'd definitely leave in that case.
I
But
think I might get out of there
but
then.
hey, Tom,
Especially if the
Tom.
entire power structure of my church.
You have a consumerist mentality. The church wasn't a corporation.
I have a consumerist mentality because I'm a bit of a
I
stickler
know
on
it's
not
a
ass raping
corporation,
children.
That's why I don't trust televangelists like fucking
It's an
David Taylor.
an extreme example, but you have a consumerist mentality. So you go to a church and it's like just
Dude,
you know, this church
you go
has
to church with David
gluten-free
Taylor.
wafers. What about this? He's not Catholic.
Your
That's a completely
pastor
different
spends
subject.
$500 on belts
That's a completely separate subject.
using the church's
Talking
money.
about- You're talking about Catholicism, or you're talking about a Pentecostal?
I'm talking about your Pentecostal voodoo church, that one.
I don't actually denounced them recently.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Well,
What
that's
happened?
interesting.
I
It seems like you're shopping for different churches there. What are you doing? I thought,
Yeah.
No, I was-
Why are you switching churches?
What are you doing there, man? You got this
Are you a
consumer
puss or something?
mentality.
No, you're getting the chronology wrong.
Really though, what's going on there? That's
Consumer mentality. No, I was part of that church in 2016.
I thought he held the keys. What's going on? I thought I thought David E. Taylor held the keys to heaven when he wasn't beating his daughter.
Did he beat
Like
her
I
with
said,
the
I
keys?
renounced that.
Okay, all right, you renounced that. You've been shopping for a new church, and now you found a Catholic church, and this Catholic church that is the power structure of it is between 15 to 50% homosexual, and I would remind you, 15 is still 10 times the rate of the general population.
I remind you, you're cherry picking church militant who you don't like.
They're not
Right.
the only they're not the only source that said that.
Oh, Huffington Post, who wants you dead. Them
But
too.
you know, I think, but if a conservative Catholic source that's ostensibly on your side is saying, yeah, there's a bit of a problem here, there might be a bit of a problem here. That's why I like to quote them, because it's a source that the trad Catholics I'm trying to hammer some truth into find credible. But the point is, 15 to 50% homosexual, the entire power structure of the Catholic Church, is at best 10 times the rate of the general population homosexual. There is obviously a pedophilia problem. Now, you could be like, well, this other organization is worse,
times.
but that's fine. Whatever. Who cares? Point is, there's obviously a pedophilia problem, and worse yet, there is systematic cover-ups that go back at least 7 freaking decades. And that's just fine. That's just okay. Well, nobody's perfect. No church is perfect. You can't be shopping around for churches. I mean, you know, yeah, there's this little problem, but it's okay. I'm sure we're going to get that solved pretty soon. And it's okay.
It's like you have a mental block, Bechtloff. It's like you have a mental block because, I mean, to be in this whole woke sphere of the internet, and we talk about the minority of Jews that control the media, or the few crooked apples that control the top of our government, how can you not see this is the exact same thing? And in this case, Irini's right. You're acting like an SJW.
So the Catholic Church is
acting like an SJW for saying his opinions on his own personal YouTube channel.
So
He's
no,
acting like
let me
an
get this
SJW.
straight. No, let me get this straight. You're taking the position that they good boys that didn't do nothing.
No, they're bad boys who did something.
Okay, so we're in agreement that this problem I'm talking about is real.
Yeah, but do you want to dismantle the U.S. government? You know, like, or did we get?
Well, I'm not allowed to really answer that question on YouTube now, am I?
Are you feeling froggy, Pepe?
No, NSA. I do not want to do that at all.
Wait, so Tom, can we go back to why you denounced that group? I'm still interested to hear that.
Because I have a spiritual father. His guy named Lee Grady. He used to be the editor of Charisma magazine. You can look him up. He can, you know. I'm here. He doesn't know my Anon name, but anyway. So he's a spiritual father. He's a brand name. You can look him up. His name's Lee Grady, and he and I talked, and He's done a lot of missionary work in Africa, where there's a lot of controlling spirits, and there's some crossover with this ministry. Now I could go
So
on
you
for
got tired of the
hours.
voodoo?
There is a spirit of control at work in David Taylor's ministry, and I was trying to look past that.
Okay. Wait, when did you denounce them?
Like yesterday.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. That's something else.
All right,
Yeah, that is
so we're gonna go
completely separate.
Catholic then. So we're gonna go with the.
Chronologically that was already in motion. And if you want to know my theology, was it says the keys of the kingdom. It's a plural, so he gave Saint Peter the keys of the kingdom, but there's some vagueness on what that means. So this man may have keys to the kingdom, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's the only one. It doesn't make him the Pope. There's a lot of questions that you don't really talk about on whatever the hell we're doing right now. It's not really
I got
played.
you. I got you.
Doesn't
He
use
doesn't.
those keys to be-
He doesn't have all 7 Chaos Emeralds. I got you.
I met the girl who he healed out of a wheelchair. I met her. Okay, this girl was wheelchair bound in constant pain. Like, you think Jordan Peterson's daughter had a bad story? This girl had a worse story, and he healed her.
Did
It's
he
not
heal
like
her through a Facebook message?
How did we get to Lobster Man?
Well, I'm just saying, for someone who's listening, they might understand. Like, someone like Jordan Peters' daughter went on like a complete meat diet to heal her rheumatoid arthritis. This girl, she was wheelchair bound. Her name's I won't say her name, but she was wheelchair bound, and plenty of people have gotten healed through David Taylor's ministry. An African witch doctor will just move the cancer to someone else or in some other part of your body. Like, this man has been used in healing people, and you guys
Wait, no,
believe
you're
in that.
glossing over something. An African.
Pentecost-
No, hang on. I got to go back to something.
Sure, go back.
An African witch
explain it to
doctor.
you.
An African witch doctor can get rid of cancer by sending it to someone else.
Yeah, they do.
Because that's
different
kind of
stuff like
fucking
that.
cool, actually. That's like, I'm kind of impressed. Like, can we
Yeah.
Can we get him to send all of it to Movie Bob? Like all the cancer. Like, I'm talking like 60, 70 people worth. Until
That's a
until
good
Bob
idea,
is
yeah.
until Bob is more cancer than man.
That might be a good solution to.
Maybe he sent
Movie
some to
Bob.
McCain. That might have been.
seems like
That might have been what happened.
it seems like these Pentecostal witch doctors, though, the people they heal, they seem to die eventually. Interesting how that works.
Oh wow!
Well,
I
no,
bet
how do-
Lazarus died eventually when Jesus resurrected him. What are you
Dying from
saying, guy?
cancer?
You're such a dummy. You're such a dummy. You don't believe in healing when it's right there in the Bible.
Dude,
never said I don't believe in
I was
healing.
raised in front of those healings,
Maybe
and
God can
those
heal your
people are
soy.
not. Those people do not get healed.
I
You
never said I
resurrect
don't
your
believe
soy.
in healing. I said if somebody claims to do it, I'm pretty skeptical.
I've done it. God's done it through me. I prayed for a guy with a toothache. He actually asked me to, and I touched his tooth with my finger, and it got really cold, and his toothache went away. You think I'm a liar?
Holy
You
shit.
sexualizing it, you faggot?
There was
In
so
your
many.
mind?
There's been
I
so
can
many
tell.
fucking times where they'd heal a guy, and then he'd walk back into the congregation the next week with the same wheelchair and all that shit.
Yeah, because you didn't fight for his. You don't understand. Like, healing, you have to have faith. If you doubt it, it's gonna come back. I was just talking to my friend who was in prison.
Well,
He had
that's
a
how
mental
prayer in
illness.
general works.
Yeah, Jesus couldn't heal because of unbelief. That's how it works. So someone gets healed in the middle of the service, they go back outside and they go, look at porn or something. It's gonna come back on them.
No, at that point, it's the prayer thing. It's not some witch doctor being able to touch you and you're healed.
So
You
when
don't
the
understand.
Pentecostal preacher heals you, it only works as long as you don't sin again.
That's
Well,
how,
yeah, definitely
I'm
you
pretty
don't want
sure
to
that's
sin
not how it
again.
works.
or
If
how
you
much
start-
how badly do you? I mean, everybody sins, saved or not. Everybody sins to some
It's
degree.
in your
so-
mind. It's in your mind. It's
So if you look
my
at
buddy,
porn,
you
then you
really
lose
want to. So my buddy had a Mexican guy who walked in, was as white as he was. He healed him. His color came back, and he walks outside to another part of the prison, and it's a prison, so his mind's gonna get into the bad thing.
Well, if they're
And it
doing
came
all
back.
this, if they're doing all this awesome stuff, why are you leaving them? Why are you leaving them to go hang out with the kid diddlers? I don't understand.
They clearly have the keys to the kingdom. Why
I
are
was
you
gonna
leaving?
say if my pastor was getting cancer removed out of people, I'm not gonna be like, well, this is nice and all, but I want to go to that church across the street where they're raping children.
Look, I had a kid in my youth group, and I'm not trying to like serious fag, but I had a kid in my youth group who died of brain cancer, and it's been on my heart for the past 10 years because of that. And yeah, I've been in churches where healings happen, but I would say overall medical research gets more done.
Okay,
And
yeah, I agree with that. I don't dispute the fact that healings are that healings can happen. I don't dispute that. I believe that as a believer. I'm very, very skeptical of people that claim to be doing it on demand, that people that claim to be doing it all the time. Especially when those people are like, now send me some shekels.
So my buddy who was in prison, he was in prison, and he spent all of his time reading the Bible and praying, and so he was able to stay in that place. There was a monk who would just chant in a room, "I'm gonna change the world," I'm gonna make the world a better place, or some mantra, and he landed on like a nuclear scale. They what's it called? They swatted his area, and they just saw it was a man, but he had the energy of like a nuclear weapon. You can look it up. It's some. But anyway, so if it's my buddy who I do know, this is a real person. He wanted to come on here actually and argue with you guys. He was in prison in Texas, and he would be prayed up, and people would come to him to get healed, but it would come back. So he would tell them, "Come to me before bed." So he'd pray for them before bed, and then they would go to sleep, and that was enough time for it to, settle in their subconscious. They wake up the next morning. It has to. There's a science behind it. You just think Jesus did it and it was a rote healing. You just think prophecy was just something being forced out of people's mouths. You have no understanding of it. So it's easy to sit back and scoff because you haven't actually sought out what it looks like in reality.
I've been around it. I grew up around the entire thing.
Have you ever been slain in the spirit?
Yes.
Okay, well, did you just fall or did you feel something?
Yes, felt something. Psychological.
That's not just it's both. It's not like our world isn't like lines and boxes. Reality is much more dynamic than that. So you call it psychological, but people go to a Benny Hinn service.
Dude, is this slain in the spirit thing even biblical? It isn't.
So do you need people to like spit in dirt and heal people with like spit mud and you accept that? Like, why do you have to put God in a box?
Is it biblical to use spit and mud to heal people?
Being slain in the spirit means every miracle has an interpretation. So when someone's slain in the spirit, they're in the flesh. Me, I wouldn't, like, maybe I'm bragging, but it was hard for me to get slain in the spirit. I kind of had to let it happen. Okay, other people will get zapped and these are people who were.
Well, that's the thing. You have to let it happen. You have to let them push you. That's how it works.
No, because I have sin. My sin in my life is like hidden pride, other things. Other people have more overt sins of the flesh. When they get slain in the spirit, they're just gonna get zapped and fall over. So a lot of these people you see getting zapped and falling over are probably people who have overt sin in their lives, sins of the flesh. I have sins of like hidden pride, probably you as well. So you have to pride is something that you have to consciously root out of yourself.
It's the most devoted ones that were being slain in the spirit the most.
The most what?
It was the most devoted ones being slain in the spirit the most, in my experience.
Yeah, so that's also another aspect of it. If you're trying to go, I mean, the sin inside of us goes very deep. So if they're very devoted, they're trying to root out the sin that goes very deep. It goes both ways. It could be someone who is very much in the flesh and into a lot of carnal sin, or it could be someone who's devout. You as a skeptic, it's not going to happen. Just like Jesus couldn't heal in his hometown, but that's on you. That's
It has happened. It has happened before, and there's been times where I did believe that stuff, and it didn't happen. Many times.
Okay, well,
Varies.
no, I can't. I feel like I've explained a lot. I can't necessarily go in every. I'd have to have been there.
Moving on. Again, I want to get back to why you why you want to join the Catholic Church. I see monstrous levels of corruption, and that's before I even get into the theological problems. I think a great deal of the theology is, I'm going to be generous and call it extra biblical. I would call a lot of it unbiblical. Some of it I would call downright silly. But yeah, the monstrous corruption alone, I can't begin. And then to combine that with the fact that the Catholic Church, from a theological, philosophical standpoint, views its power structure as an authority arguably higher than Scripture. When they're like that, like, I mean, I get, okay, yeah, you can't, there's no church is perfect, Bechtloff. You can't just be looking for the perfect church all the time. But I think even in a fallen world, I can find a church that meets the standards of not being run by communist pedophiles.
Yeah, but hey, Bechtloff, well, we've been on here like what, an hour? I was just at a Catholic bookstore this weekend, and I love buying the books. I like E. Michael Jones. He's this guy a Catholic who talks about the JQ. I really more want to study Catholic theology, and I like praying to the saints. I would like to take the Eucharist, but all this stuff, I mean, I've been trying to give you like an hour of like whatever kayfabe or blood sports, but I'm not really like in a rush to convert. I could have started RCIA. It's a lot of issues, but to be like honest like that, it's not very good blood sports. So I don't know what you want.
You don't have to call this blood sports. You don't have to call it debate. I'm having two callers that are regulars on the Discord on the chat. That's all this is.
Sure.
Like, you don't have to. We don't have to.
It could have went either way for all I know. For all I knew.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully, people find it entertaining, and I find it engaging. So it is what it is.
Like, I'm more chill in person than I am through text, basically.
Yeah, I can get that. But kind of gay. So okay, let's see. Let's not be Mr. Fields. I like Catholic theology, and I like Catholic mysticism, and I guess in the spirit we have a lot of people who like esoteric stuff, a lot of like occultists, pagans. I like that stuff. Sitting in the Catholic Church, I've observed at least one very obviously gay priest just walking into a Catholic church, and it bothered me, and he kept on giving me like this evil eye, and I didn't go back, and the people in the church were incredibly unfriendly, and I've been in a few Catholic churches that were like that. I've been in others, where they do the whole peace be with you, and it was kind of nice. But yeah, I still more prefer a Protestant church that's going to be more seeker friendly. It's not an easy conversion, but
Really
there's
depends.
yeah, it just depends.
Well,
Like,
I don't have much
to,
personal experience in the Catholic Church myself. The only personal experience I have is a handful of visits I did as a young man, mostly to attempt to appease my, at the time, girlfriend's parents. She had given up on Catholicism. She was starting to head back towards Christianity, but wanted really nothing to do with Catholicism. But her parents were heavy Catholics. They were Shiite Catholics. And
Shiite.
And she would go to the services with them once in a while just to shut them up, and I'd get dragged to it. And to be honest, I don't remember a great deal about it because it was like 4 a.m. I had to get up for that crap. Because I think they were still doing sunrise services like every Sunday. They were doing like 6 a.m. services. It was ridiculous. And all I remember is, sit, stand, kneel for an hour. So I don't have a great deal of personal experience being in a Catholic church. A lot of the experience I have with Catholics has come the last few years dealing with trad Catholics online. And, for a very long time when I was first involved in, heavily involved in the church, in my church, I found it very silly how much of an aversion Protestants had to Catholicism. I'm like, yeah, I don't agree with them, but it can't be that bad. And past couple years, I've started to think, maybe they had a point. Because I have not liked a lot of what I have seen as I've taken a closer look at things.
Do you actually have trad Catholic listeners?
I don't know how many I have now, but for a while I had a great deal of them.
I think they went away when he got more vocally anti-Catholic.
Yeah, I don't know how many are left.
But yeah, I used to see them all over the place.
Yeah, I used to have tons.
And the ones you're going to get in the sphere are going to be like Catholic monarchists and just really kind of arrogant and annoying ones.
I've seen some of those around.
So, I was part of, like, I went to University of Florida. We'd have, like, Unite Now worship night. And, we'd have, like, a few thousand people there. And I remember, we'd have the Catholics and all the different denominations. And it was nice, and it was just, like, attractive young Catholic girls, or just really solid young men. So I've had good experiences. And for fighting abortion, you have Catholics who do that. I've had good experiences with Catholicism, but the ones that I actually found on the internet, a lot of them are off-putting. A lot of them are pretty off-putting.
Well, I mean, I've had good experiences with former Catholic schoolgirls, but I don't know about.
Yeah. They have.
Wait, so here's
good for them.
Here's my question. So you're saying that several churches can hold the keys to the kingdom now. So why not be a?
I renounced that yesterday. You bringing it up, I literally renounced that yesterday.
Well, no, you said earlier on the stream that there's several keys, and they could be dispersed against. They could be dispersed amongst several churches.
Your first take was
I don't
that
know.
was only Jordan
I don't know.
Taylor.
The Bible says I give you the keys of the kingdom. Like that that's for the theologians. I don't know. David Taylor has done some impressive feats. He
beating his daughter.
You're an idiot. Yeah. Oh. But you're such a faggot soy boy, Gretel.
Because I don't beat my daughter.
Okay, somebody in the chat, I gotta read this because this is funny as shit. Okay, how solid, in quotation marks, were these young men in the Catholic Church, and why were they solid in church? That's fantastic. That reminds me of that comic where it's like, I think it was like poorly drawn lines, but like you only see him from the waist up, and the boss goes up to the guy and goes, "Hard at work again, Frank?" And he looks down sad. He goes, "Yeah." And then they go down, like pan down, and the guy's got a boner. He's like, "I gotta fire you, Frank."
So when I was part of David Taylor's church, there was such a, they believe they're saving America, kind of like Bechtloff talks about. They take themselves so seriously. They have a strong elitism. And it's so competitive. When I got there, I was grieved. I was grieved, I was grieved in my spirit. And they kicked me out of the church on my 25th birthday. Like they all kind of would work together, and they would all have like a place to sleep together, because it was more like a mission, and they kicked me out on my 25th birthday, and it was very painful. And
why did they kick you out?
Because I was asking too many questions, and I had too many concerns about the way they were
questioning him too hard. Yeah.
Well, if you think that's going to be better in the Catholic Church,
that's totally not a red flag.
No, dude. It's the question is, like, we're so used to individualism when the kingdom of God, just the word kingdom implies rank. Okay, like when you were in the Bible times, someone would tell you to do something, and they could totally be wrong, but you had to do it because they outranked you.
Yo, didn't I call David E. Taylor a cult leader? He sounds like a cult leader.
And Luke called Catholicism a cult. Like, what do you want? Like, you want a consumerist Baptist church that has gluten-free wafers? That's what you want.
No, once they go gluten free, I'm done. No.
You want gluten-free?
I want
wafers.
salt and vinegar wafers myself, but that, you know, so far my church has ignored my request on that.
So I was sitting outside, and you know, I don't know. You probably have maybe not heard the audible voice of God, but I felt, you know, like I heard like God say, you know, you're done with Christianity. And Bechtloff, you just compared Catholicism to Christianity, and I went New Age for a while. I went into the New Age movement. I did.
Yeah, I was in 10th grade too.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry, but yeah,
you seem
funny.
to have a strong leaning towards paganism. Isn't that interesting?
yeah, that's makes me.
You started out in a Pentecostal.
You're heavy into mysticism and paganism, so you want to go Catholic. I'm not surprised.
I guess that happens when your original church had a lot of that.
Yeah, well, it all belongs to us. Like, the whole point of the mass being pagan is like we took it over. Like, do you have a Christmas tree in your house, Bertel?
No, I'm talking about the tongue speaking.
That's in the Bible. I don't know if you ever read the Bible. That's in the book.
That is gibberish is not in the Bible.
It's not gibberish. I regularly
it's gibberish.
I regularly translate what I say. I regularly say
do
words.
you?
Yeah, that I type in and have very significant meaning.
You type in tongues. That's great.
Yeah, I do, and I meet
No,
other people.
No. I'm not even trying to be an asshole. How exactly do you translate what you say? Do you like record yourself and then?
I'm not going to do it right now, but one of the words I would say, because when you speak in tongues, you could Google it. You can see people doing it. Sometimes you stick on one word or one set of syllables. I was saying this word candela. Candela. All right, so candela, how do you think you spell candela? Do you have a guess?
You're asking the wrong guy. I'm terrible at spelling I'm terrible at spelling my primary language. You're asking the wrong guy there.
Yeah, it's another language. It could be spelled completely differently.
So I thought candela was spelled, let's say, Candela. Type in Candela, and what you get is an SI unit of measurement for luminosity, as in the intensity of light. Okay, and like, I guess, you know, you guys are here just to LARP or whatever. Like, I'm here to try and, you know, and I have helped people on the internet, like what Arini's trying to do, and be a light for people. And it just so happened I was saying that in tongues at the same time during the same period of time. So you can laugh at it, but that's how it works. I just gave an Uber ride this past week to a woman who's saying Hannah. Okay, Hannah is the name of someone in the Bible, and her name means highly favored. I've heard of another guy, he was saying Abba. When he first started speaking in tongues, he was saying Abba. Do you know what Abba means in the Bible?
Yes, it means father, but closer to daddy, if you want to get technical.
And he had no knowledge, no prior knowledge of this, that it meant daddy. Okay? So it's
I'm not even
words all the time when I walk into a Pentecostal church.
I'm not even trying to be a dick here. No, hang on. I'm not even trying to be a dick here. I gotta know what is your opinion on Terry Davis? Are you familiar with Terry Davis?
No, I'm still on Sky King. What happened with Terry Davis?
Okay, well, I mean, I don't have all the details in front of me, but Terry Davis was a computer programmer. He was a very, very brilliant man, and he suffered from mental illness, really, and he believed God wanted him to program an operating system from scratch. And he built a working operating system from scratch. Now it's kind of like 1997 levels of functional. I think it's actually a 64-bit operating system. But he was he. I would suggest looking into him because you may have a completely different view on what was
Yeah,
going on with
I'll
Terry
raise
Davis.
you Terry Davis. I'll raise you your Terry Davis. And how about, I don't know if you ever listened to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, but he has one on the Radical Anabaptists, and he has one on the Rebellion of Munster. Okay, and these were Anabaptists during the time of Luther, who they didn't speak in tongues, but they had this one guy who was basically a prophet, and they fortified the city of Munster, and he would just get messages from God, and he even got a message to go out all by himself and fight the entire army of the Catholic Lord.
See,
And
I think you're coming at me like I'm far more of a skeptic than I am here. I don't dispute that miracles happen. I don't dispute that they can happen. I don't dispute that God can heal, that he can use this or that guy to heal. I don't dispute any of these things can happen, and I don't sit here and say that they never happen. I just sit here and I know that there are also people who are just crazy. There are also people who are bullshitting you. I mean, Tom, I can sit here and tell you that God just told me, I'm just getting breaking news in my earbud, that God told me to tell you to send me $50. And are you going to just do it? I mean, like, are you going to say, no, I don't think he did that. I think you just want me to give you $50.
Well, yeah, that's fun. That is kind of, a lot of people start there. I mean, stuff like that. You start from somewhere and you trust that God, will eventually straighten you out. But it's about the willingness to take. It's either you demand.
You take faith, but you don't be
risk.
stupid or foolish about it. I mean, we're told to be as innocent as doves and as wise as serpents. You do have to have a bit of a BS radar out there.
The same book says that God's people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. You're not going to look into this stuff.
It's just what are
the scandals that happen within the process.
Are you gonna sit on your computer? Are you gonna sit at your computer and look at scandals, or are you gonna go out like I did in college? I went with friends, and we would evangelize people, but we would also pray for people. And yeah, there were a lot of times where nothing happened, but there were other times where something did happen.
Like you're speaking.
Okay, that's fantastic. I'm not telling you not to do that.
You're using anecdotal evidence here, and yeah, you should have some of that. But looking things up and doing your research, that's also important.
Yeah, but like Grittal, when's the last time you went, shared the gospel with someone? Never done it. Probably. You just got butthurt and you rail on Discord about it.
Oh my gosh, it has nothing to do with it. You fucking idiot.
But exactly. But you proved my point. And did you tie it this past week either?
I had I had
on
both.
Here and gripe,
I had experience and research that got me to leave it. Like a huge culture shock being raised in a freaking Pentecostal church, and then speaking with Wesleyans, Baptists, all those other groups, and finding that they're not batshit insane.
Is your dad still in that?
Oh yeah, he listens to freaking John Hagee every week.
Ooh.
Blood Moon guy.
Sorry.
Yeah, the Blood Moon guy. He was listening to a female pastor this morning.
Oh, geez, the Blood Moon guy.
You're against female pastors?
Well,
yeah, I don't agree with that.
Tom, what's your opinion on John Hagee?
He's just he's some guy. I don't really listen to him. I think the Blood Moon's probably. Look, the Magi had to follow a star to find Jesus. The signs it says in the Bible, it actually does say that the stars, the lights in the sky are given as signs. It does say that.
Yeah, I don't dispute that, Tom, but you recognize that John Hagee is full of shit when he writes a book about blood moons, and he's either deluded himself or he's trying to sucker idiots out of money.
No, there's so much going on. I mean,
Tom,
there probably is something going on right now, and there probably is significance to the blood moons. Now,
Wait, here's the thing, Tom. Here's the thing. So, are you aware that John Hagee believes that Jews don't need Jesus to be saved?
No, that's retarded.
Yeah, that's John Hagee's stance. So you're going to trust him on the blood moons?
Well, he might believe that if they follow what light they're given with all their might, they're saved. Just like
no, he thinks because they're Jewish, they don't need to be saved.
Like they could be Jewish and do they have to follow their own religion or just be
if
Jewish?
you've listened to the man, he's extremely obsessed with Jews in Israel.
He is a racial supremacist for Jews. It's really weird.
Like
it's like the spiritual equivalent of those like white people common filth covered on Tumblr who wanted to be black people's slaves. Like it's the spiritual equivalent of that. He believes in Jewish supremacy, like outright.
He probably believes if they follow.
No, I'm not kidding.
He only ever talks about Jews in Israel.
Well, why the hell do I have to defend this guy? He's some idiot.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
That's my point. You recognize that he's just some jackass. You were defending him at
first until we told you this stuff.
You recognize that he's just some jackass.
I'm defending the concept of God using the blood moons as a sign.
Okay, yeah, maybe he is, okay, but the point is, you're recognizing that John Hagee is just some guy. That John Hagee is just a jackass, and he's probably full of shit. So
yeah,
do you not understand...
Harold Camping next?
Do you not understand how I recognize that a lot of, supposed Christian leaders are that way? That I believe basically the entirety of the Vatican is that?
Okay, yeah, but, so what are you going to do? Are you going to do, playthroughs? Just going to do video game playthroughs and say, hey, you heard about Jesus? The Bible still says
I don't know, maybe. Maybe I'll be the guy who plays video games, and while people come in to watch me play video games, I'm like, have you heard of Jesus? And I just play the JonTron clip a lot. Okay.
It's his personal YouTube channel. He can do that.
Maybe I'll do that. Maybe that'll lead people over. Okay. But I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to rape any children, and I'm not going to cover up for guys that are raping children. So I got that going for me. I'm not going to sell idiot books on fucking blood moons stuff I basically made up. I'm not going to walk around talking about how the Jews are the master race. I'm not going to do any of that dumb or evil shit.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm not going to support the people that do.
Yeah, don't do it. I've never given money to the Catholic Church. Well, I just read the books of their greatest hits. I just like the greatest hits.
Now that's what I call Catholicism, Volume 22. But no, I get what you say. It's fine. Fine, read the theology. I'm not telling you. All right.
Yeah. You like doing retard sex? That's great. I guess that helps someone. I don't know who, but it must be good. You get views.
Well, I don't know how many views I get. Nobody watches this channel, but I do think it helps the people that watch, because, and I think I've explained this exact thing to you before. I think it's interesting to cover that stuff before, because look, porn is on the surface. It can be very glamorous. It can be obviously very appealing. You have maybe the lighting's really well done, and you have two very attractive people having wild sex, and most people find that appealing to look at. And it's very easy to look at that and see nothing but the glamour, see nothing but the illusion. And I think it is worthwhile to peel that back once in a while and say, no, look, just beyond the surface, this is a fucking septic tank. And you need to understand that. And you need to understand that it's poison. It's candy-coated poison, and it tastes really good at first, but it's poison. And it's important that people see that. It's important that porn be demystified in people's eyes, and people see what's really going on there. I would argue that it is important to do that.
If God asked you to marry Hannah Hayes,
it's fun to laugh at it. Yes, it's fun to laugh at it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, we're having fun, but I think it also serves a purpose. And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your question there.
If God asked you to, if you were asked by God to marry Hannah Hayes, would you do it?
I would need to be pretty damn certain that it's God telling me that. But if I was absolutely certain that God told me to do that, then yes, I suppose I would. I don't think I'd be particularly happy about it. I think I'd be, you know, was it Jonah at the end of the story when he sulked under the tree? I think I'd be that. Um, but you know, if the God of the universe tells me to do something and I'm absolutely certain it's him, yeah, I suppose okay. But I'm not going to do it if, like, some jackass from a podium says, Bechtloff, the Blood Moons told me that you got to go marry Hannah Hayes. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, you go tell the Blood Moons to kiss my dick.
I can't think of anyone worse than her. So,
well, she's a cute little thing. I got to give her that. I mean, just every time she talks, I'd be sad. But hey, at least she's got a cool pet lizard. Maybe I can play with the lizard. You know, I do love animals.
Yeah, there you go. It could be a match made in heaven.
Yeah, there you go. Get me an emotional support lizard. I'll be walking into Wendy's with my emotional support lizard. They can't say nothing because I got a doctor's note.
That's a powerful testimony.
Yep. Be like, I need this lizard to support me emotionally so I can decide whether or not I want to get some nuggers with my burger. Of course I want to get nuggers with my burger. What am I talking about?
The lizard says, have you heard about Jesus?
Exactly. I get an emotional support parrot, and I'll teach him to mimic the JonTron quote. Have you heard of Jesus? There you go.
Glory to God!
That actually would be probably a cool witness. You walk around with a parrot that demands people believe in Jesus all the time, people are going to remember that. All right?
That would get you views. Your channel would grow.
Just walk around in person like that. You know, people are going to be like, dude, I think maybe I should read the Bible. I just heard a parrot screaming at me. It was on this weirdo's shoulder. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
You go freak out the Amish.
Here's the one downside to the emotional support lizard thing. It only works if you have her with you.
Oh, that's right. This is my emotional support retard.
You need the emotional support lizard just to save you mentally from her talking.
I'm not sure if that girl is retarded or autistic. I'm sort of, every once in a while I get sort of like more of a Rain Man vibe than a Forrest Gump vibe from her. I don't know though. Something ain't right with her though. And again, talking about Hannah Hayes, I think is worth doing because it's worth pointing out. Hey, you know, this industry is taking advantage of a girl that obviously lacks the capacity to consent to this given work. That obviously, that you listen to her for 5 freaking minutes and you know they should not let her do this. And it's worth pointing out just how evil the two-legged lizards are that run that industry.
Yeah, I think you're doing good work, but it's more of a niche. You're gonna have a niche audience, even if you got bigger. You know, people aren't gonna admit they're watching retard sex hour. You know,
I mean, that's cool. I'm happy with the audience I have. I have a very cool and loyal but small little audience, and this is not my primary mode of work. I would be afraid to have this be my primary mode of work because even if by the end of next week I was making like $10,000 a month on my Patreon or some shit, you know, and I could make this my full-time job, no questions asked, I'd still be, because I mean, it's so transient. It could just disappear in a second. And then next thing you know, you're Spoony. Next thing you know, your Wings of Redemption. Next thing you know, your Dark Side Phil, and you're stuck in it as it's slowly dying a heat death. Like, I'd be very afraid to make this my full-time job. So no, I don't expect this to ever be a full-time job. I don't expect this to ever make me more than, you know, a lot of people say beer money, but I can't stand drinking beer. But you know, a little bit of fun money each month. I don't expect it to be ever doing more than that. If it does do more than that, that's fantastic. You know, but I don't expect this to have more than a niche audience ever. You know, but it's a good creative outlet. It does put a couple of bucks in my pocket. So I enjoy doing it. And I do think it at the very least entertains people. And, you know, there is a value to entertainment. You know, people work hard. They got their own problems in life. And if they could sit and unwind, listen to me goofing off, talking about dumb shit, then that alone is providing a service for them.
You know, no, that's the problem with Christian entertainment.
In much the same way beauty is its own justification, fun is its own justification. Now, obviously, you know, not when you're, you know, sinning to have fun or not when you doing things out of, when you've made an idol out of it or something like that. But, fun is its own justification. Fun is its own inherent good in its proper time and place.
Yeah. That's what's wrong with Christian entertainment. Is it's too heavy-handed. It's primarily trying to sell you a message, not entertain you.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, and that's, my primary business on here is to entertain people. I am an entertainer first and foremost. I try to put on a live stream that people find compelling for whatever reason. Whether or not I succeed is a matter of opinion, but that's what I'm attempting to do.
Yeah, well, you're doing better than me. I mean, I'm attempting to do serious work, and I guess I'm entertainment for tonight. So, I guess you win that one. You win that one, buddy.
Hey, you came in here and you came into the Lion's Den, and I respect the hell out of that, man.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call Gretel a lion, but thanks.
Well, you came on to two people that were going to disagree with you, and I respect the hell out of that. And yeah, we snipped at each other and all, but it wasn't, nobody descended into a Jim Goad level of shit.
We didn't pull your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. Nobody tried to pull your ex-girlfriend out to prove a point that no one understood.
That guy, man,
that was disgusting.
Yeah.
I could not believe that guy.
The moderator should have kicked that girl so quickly.
I don't know. I didn't even catch all of it.
From the chat.
I like watching blood sports. Obviously, Kumite, Ralph. I love both those. Worski, I'm not a huge fan of, but every once in a while he puts on a damn good show. I like those kind of stuff. I like that sort of talk radio on the internet stuff, and so I'm tuned in. I'm like, this is gonna be something, and like half an hour into it, I'm like, what else is on the YouTubes? And I ended up watching a YouTuber named Ant Dude review Spyro 3 for the PlayStation 1. Because I just, and I know two of the people involved in that stream, and I just didn't care. Because it's like, I didn't, as I said on the other stream, I don't think Davis did a particularly good job as moderator, and I'm not going to hammer that home, because I know Davis and I had disagreements lately, and I don't want to be harping on that. I don't think Forney did as good a job as he could have or should have. I understand why he was flustered, because it was fucking madness. And Jim Goad, and I don't know I barely know anything about him prior to this shit show. But holy crap, what a vile motherfucker he strikes me as. What an absolutely vile motherfucker. And again, I would say apply the Bechtloff test, as I like to call it, where you just shut off the audio and you look at his body language and you say, what's that little caveman in the back of my head telling me? What are my instincts telling me? What's that lizard hindbrain telling me? And it's not going to tell you anything good about him.
I think I got an abused child vibe from him or something.
Oh yeah, he admitted that on when he was on Beardsome stream afterwards. Oh, my daddy didn't love me. That's why God don't reel.
I didn't even hear that part. The way his mannerisms just seemed like it.
He said his dad abused him all through childhood.
Was he a Catholic priest?
No, because God can't have emotions. That's dumb. And also, it's not gay if you're on top. That's some hot takes from Jim Goad.
He's watching you, Bechtloff. Be careful.
He might be. Did you see him on Twitter, dude? So he posts on Twitter years ago. He had typed up some troll email he was going to send to Davis Arini, which again proves the point that he's been focusing on those guys for years. So he types up according to him, years ago, he typed up a troll email he was going to send to Davis Arini, and then for some reason didn't send it, but kept it all these years, and then he posted on Twitter like this proves anything but what a giant jackass Jim Goad is. And I'm just like, wow, you sure showed him. Like, what a ridiculous fucking idiot.
He's obsessed. But I'm saying he called you out by name at the beginning of the debate.
Wait,
I took notice of that, and I took notice of that specifically because he pronounced my name right, which I found very interesting. Most people say Bechtloff when they see it in print. So that tells me that he I know he had listened to the Beardson Forney debate I had on my original channel at some point because he commented on it because he was commenting everywhere about Forney. So yeah, I don't know how much he's aware of me. Frankly, I hope not a lot because it's just not a fucking demon I want in my life. Okay, I don't want him out there typing troll emails to me that he never sends until 10 years later he fucking talks about it. Like I don't want that being part of my experience on this world. I could do without that, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I didn't know who Jim Goad was before this. I hope to eventually go back to not knowing who Jim Goad is. I hope that memory just kind of erases itself over the years, just slips out of my mind. You know, if I'm ever diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I'll just be like, well, at least I'm not going to know who Jim Goad is anymore.
But he's like the Red Skull, man. He might be living forever guarding the Soul Stone or something.
He's going to be living forever guarding the boy pussy.
Wait, so this Jim Goad guy, he's calling everyone out by name? What the hell?
Yeah. Well, I posted in the chat because he had said something about, like, yeah, because he goes on about his dumb fedora shit about, like, immediately attacking organized religion because God can't get angry. That's dumb. Okay, whatever. There's your hot take from Jim Goad. And I posted something laughing at what a faggy atheist he is. Because he had said something later about how he likes to feel smarter than everyone else. And it's very important to him that he feels smart. And I'm like, gee, an atheist that likes to feel smarter than everyone else. And and the funny thing is the chat was triggering the fuck out of him. Like at one point early in the stream, he was all like, you know, the chat called me a Jew. Like, is this your first day on the internet, Grandpa? But yeah, he was like, Bechtloff, I'm not an atheist. That's dumb. And then I, put in the chat, like, I'm sorry, I got your breed of fedora wrong.
He does look pretty fucking old.
He's 57. I mean, he looks like he's got grids, but yeah, he's 57.
He only called you out by name out of the whole chat.
Whatever. Like I said, I'm going to go back to not really knowing who the fuck Jim Goad is. That was disgusting. That was the whole reason he had that debate. Like, remember, like a year ago now, I guess it was, when Sargon lost his mind because Richard Spencer looked him in the eye, proverbially speaking, and said, you're not as smart as you think you are. Well, Forney said in a live stream, Jim Goad, you're not as cool as you think you are. And Jim Goad lost his fucking mind and went on the warpath.
Yeah. Really. Well, I have a story of Jim Goad. He was on Red Ice once, and he was like hating on Christianity. So I said, oh, you're just a filler episode for Red Ice, which he wasn't. Like, he was a fairly well done episode, but I had like 100 followers on a Pepe account, and he slid into my DMs, and he was just like messaging me like what do you mean? Like, look, my stats, my numbers. Like,
why does that not like I have no evidence that what you just said is true, and I don't doubt it in the least. Like, it fits everything I've seen about him, and I haven't seen much, mind you. Again, I couldn't have picked this motherfucker out of a lineup a week ago, but
yeah, he did it to Glon too.
He strikes me as an overtly emotional retard, just based on his mannerisms.
Yeah, that guy just strikes me as vile. It's just a vile. In all honesty, like, first of all, he strikes me as, like, he's right of center. Let's be honest. He's not heavily right wing. He's right of center at best. He strikes me as sort of
like, he does have a gay boyfriend.
Almost a mirror image of Henry Rollins. Like Henry Rollins is all like edgelord and paper alpha and all this other gay shit, and he's like left of center. It's like, this paper alpha is obsessed with, appearing cool and all this other shit, and no one's sure what he's originally famous for. In much the same way, that's Jim Goad. Jim Goad is the slightly right-wing Henry Rollins. But yeah, I just, there's something about the godless right that I'm beginning to just think is even more vile than the left.
Yeah, me too, man. I
Like-
can see why they want to kill it with fire.
Like, this was
you look at like
Ulrich,
Richard
wasn't he?
Spencer, you look at you know, with Ghoul a little while ago. I know he got run off the internet, but like I Ghoul made my skin crawl the moment I saw him on camera. I was like, holy shit, man, my hindbrain is screaming at me to get away from this maniac, and I ended up being proved right. You know, Jim Goad, it's just the godless right. If you are on the right and you're hostile to Christianity, I'm not even going to say that you're not a Christian, but you're hostile to it. 9 times out of 10, I find you to just be a shitbag, you know. And even if I, you know, like I don't think Milo is personally a shitbag. I think, yeah, he's a degenerate,
Nah.
but he doesn't strike me as a very, very evil man, at least by human standards. But you also notice he's not hostile to Christianity. He's not a Christian himself, not really, because you know he's into something else. But he's not hostile towards it, you know. But somebody like Jim Goad or somebody like Richard Spencer, they're just vile.
Goat had that same look. Spencer will get this look when he's being like disingenuous, or he's talking out the side of his mouth. Maybe like being self-righteous but disingenuously. And Goat had that look the entire time.
Alternative Hypothesis has a really great video on Richard Spencer. It got taken off of YouTube, I think, because a Spencer fanboy flagged it or something. But it's on BitChute, and you can find it. Can't think of the name, but I know I've linked it in the Discord. But it starts off talking about the alt-right in general, and it's like 20 minutes of dissecting the alt-right, and then after that, it's like, here's an hour talking about why Richard Spencer is a piece of garbage. And holy shit, he is.
Yeah. So I mean, I wanted to, like, when I saw the alt-right almost like 2 years ago now, you know, I saw a lot of people who were passionate and zealous, and I thought, you know, maybe that could be flipped towards God, you know, and kind of create a, you know, like a Jesus, like they had the Jesus freaks in the 70s, the Jesus people movement. I kind of look at the alt-right, and I still think all those people are still around because it just got dispersed. And you know, that's why I lean towards what Irini's trying to do, because I see a lot of men who are antsy, and they want some movement. You know, I think you're really well balanced, Bechtloff, that you can keep a cool head and not get too serious about stuff. You know, that's probably a virtue of some sort. No, it is. But, you know, as for like me and these other men, we can't hardly help ourselves. And if it's not going to be Christ or Christianity, it's going to be the alt-right. They have to put that excess energy into something.
Oh, yeah, I get you there, and you know, believe me, you know, Christianity is about all I have left that I can put that energy in. You know, I don't know if I'm particularly good at it, but it's the only thing I know, you know, that isn't going to let you down, and that's where I'm at. I'm at a place where I've just seen everything else turn to shit, for all sorts of various reasons, and you know, it gets tiring after a while. And again, I've seen it turn to shit primarily in many regards because of ego. I've seen ego ruin a lot of shit out there. I've seen it ruin a lot of people. You know, Jim Goad I believe he made an absolute fool of himself. I believe most people looked at that, and while I don't think anybody involved came out particularly better for it, I think Jim Goad hurt himself there. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's my bias. Who knows? Because I can't imagine why anyone would like him in the first place. But I can't imagine that he's better for, you know, professionally for what he did. And it was all ego. It was all ego. It was somebody thinks I'm not cool. Well, fuck them. You know, and you see this all the time. I mean, what, you know, Spoonie in large part now, he was brought down by equal parts, you know, laziness and self-loathing and ego. You know, you just see this all the time with people that climb completely up their own ass. You know, Sargon lost his mind because somebody said to him, "You're not as smart as you think you are." And he, you know, it hit him because it's where he fears. He fears deep down inside that he's not as smart, you know, as he'd like to believe. Jim Goad knows deep down inside that he's not the cool guy anymore. He's a 57-year-old, you know, who's on the internet telling somebody, "Fight me in real life, I get tons of ass, bro." You know, not a good look, man. Not a good look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's on the receiving end when he takes all that ass.
Yeah. You know, well, I that was the first thing that popped into my head. Like, you notice he said ass and not pussy, because it was right after he talked about, like, I'm not gay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, some dude sucked my dick once, but I'm not gay. Like, wait a minute. Whoa, back that up. You just glossed over something there, buddy.
but I look at YouTube and Twitter. It's like a ongoing open world soap opera that you can interact with, and it can become a character development crucible, you know, to the degree you want it to be. And I know that could sound a little extreme, but, you know, I would say someone like Sargon, he's growing as a person, maybe, you know, at least a little bit, you know, like I think he's developing as a person, or like PewDiePie. I think PewDiePie is a great example. You know, he started out, you know, he got really big, and he got into like a kind of a depressed phase, and he's obviously red-pilled now. You know, anyone who watches his content can tell that he follows all the alt-right accounts. It's just abundantly clear from his jokes. And
JonTron's the same way. He doesn't really reveal his power level, but he's considerably more right wing than he lets on. I would say the two guys that I think are the best examples online of how to do the internet right are James Rolfe and Medicare. I think Medicare is the perfect example of how to do this. I don't know, shall we say more not political, but kind of political, socio-political, whatever end of things. You know, everybody hates him, and they claim that he's an ego. You know, he's so arrogant, when the exact opposite is true. He's insanely humble, and that gives him a certain level of bulletproof.
Like, he doesn't even have an agenda.
Yeah,
either.
and the other guy, yeah, he tries to actually be, dare I say it, a journalist. It's kind of amazing. I know it's a lost art, but he actually tries to be a journalist.
He has his opinions, but he's not pushing anything.
Yeah, he's, you know, dare I say it, trying to actually, you know, put the truth out there. And the other guy, from a strictly entertainment standpoint, I would say is James Rolfe, because that's a guy that's, you know, he got originally famous for doing just dumb little angry video game nerd reviews. He's expanded beyond that, but he didn't throw away the original thing that makes him famous. He still does nerd reviews. He doesn't try to churn them out on a regular schedule. He churns them out as he is able, as he has the ideas. He's expanded into other things while, you know, respecting his core audience that brought him there in the first place. He attempts to grow as a creator. He doesn't get involved in shitty drama. He doesn't go on fucking social media and bitch about Trump. He doesn't bitch about Pelosi. He doesn't go out there and, for no good reason, alienate a bunch of his fans. James Rolfe doesn't have a Twitter account. Cinemassacre Productions has a Twitter account. He doesn't put himself out there. He's insanely professional. He's very nice and kind to his fans, and you know he's got to deal with a bunch of spurgs at these cons. But I've met him at cons twice. And, I mean, he was nothing but just gracious and nice and friendly and sociable. You know, he didn't know me from Adam, but he still, you know, shook my hand, said hi, talked to me a little bit. I think the first time I met him, it was 2013, 2014, something like that. I went to Retro Game Con, and I wanted to get him to sign my Nightmare on Elm Street NES game, and because I like his review of it. I think that game's actually really good for a horror NES game. But I liked his review of it. I wanted to have him sign it. And I figured I'd have to have him pay to sign it. I'm expecting $10-$20 to have him sign this damn thing. So I'm going up there with, basically money ready to exchange hands. And I had gotten the early ticket, so there wasn't a lot of people around. I didn't have to wait in line. I just went right up to him. I was like, hey, man, love your videos. You signed this game. Oh, yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. That one's, oh, I love that. I love that episode I did. And, he just signed it. I expected him. So then I ended up buying a Cinemassacre t-shirt because I was kind of expecting to spend money at that booth anyways. And I do like his work. I wanted to support him. I also had him sign the Ninja Turtles NES game at another con. But, very nice, very sociable, good to his fans. He understands that his fans are the reason he's there. Don't tell me how to play the game. He's not spoony. That's an example. He's professional. That's the amazing thing about it. Yeah, he's a guy that plays video games and calls them various types of animal feces. But damned if he's not a professional about it. And I just admire the hell out of that guy for it. And he's likely to be still going strong for as long as he wishes to keep doing this. The other interesting thing about him, I saw a video, I think it was a year ago now, but he did a video on like an update of things coming up on the channel, and he talks about, and I also have a daughter and another one on the way, and when he had said that at the time, I didn't even know he was married, let alone had kids on the way. Let alone had kids and one on the way. Because I didn't know anything about his personal life, because he doesn't put that shit out there.
Yeah.
He has a separation between his personal life and his professional. It's just, that's an example of how to do this shit right. Both of those guys are examples that people need to pay more attention to, that people should learn from. James Rolfe is never going to become Jim Goad. Okay, he's never going to go on a week-long rampage because somebody called him a faggot on the internet. And if you call Medicare a faggot on the internet and he notices, he's likely to just bring you on his show. Like, yeah, call me a faggot in front of everybody. This is funny. That's how you do it, man.
I see. That's clearly what you did with me. So,
well, no,
kudos.
You challenge. I don't mind having you in the Discord. I don't have anything against you. And you want to come on here, and you know what? The thing about it is maybe I am being an asshole. If people want to come on and say, Bechtloff, you're being an asshole, well, maybe I am. I don't know. Come on, tell me why I'm being an asshole. I mean, again, just have a little humility about yourself, man. I'm not telling people that, understand, I'm not telling people that they have to be goofy and they have to, just don't take life seriously. I'm not telling you not to take life seriously. I'm telling you to not take yourself seriously. I'm telling you to just, was it one of my favorite preachers, Steve Brown, always likes to say, you wouldn't, when he was talking about, Christians dealing with guilt and all, and he goes, well, sometimes I like to say to Christians that are dealing with tremendous guilt, and just are having a hard time dealing with the fact that, you've come to faith, you're forgiven now. I like to say to them, you wouldn't be so shocked by your sin if you didn't have such a high opinion of yourself.
That's good.
Oh, I love Steve Brown. That guy's great. The Key Life Ministries is his little radio show that he does. That guy was a big focus in bringing me to Christ. That's one of the few books I've ever had signed. Is his book 3 Free Sins he put out a few years ago. Great author, great teacher.
Nice.
Yeah, I think the only other books I have signed are ones that friends I've known through doing this have done, and I had Pat the NES Punk sign his big NES guide, and I had Ernie Hudson sign my Tobin Spirit guide. That's the only books I've had signed.
Yeah, that's a shame. Medicare got tuberculosis.
He seems to be recovering, though. I mean,
to get woo woo, it would be a guy like Medicare who would get it. To me, like I would call that demonic. Because he's doing important work.
Oh, he is. I think he's I think Medicare's moving towar's. I think God's working on him. I think he's moving towards.
What's giving you that idea?
Just he's mentioned a few things about it. About being more open to the idea, and I noticed ever since he started his Deviant series, he seemed a lot less like amoral Fedora, and a lot more like almost moving in a common filth direction. Like he's talking about degenerates a lot. There's been a handful of times over the past year and a half you've seen real righteous rage from him, which is rare. Primarily dealing with Jonathan Ross, yeah. Which, of course. But yeah, I'd like to think. I realize that part of it's that I'd like to think he's moving in that direction. I certainly pray for the guy. I hope he makes his peace with his maker.
It's lousy. It's the Somali immigrants that they get these people from Somalia and put it in the middle of a white neighborhood in Minneapolis or Minnesota. What the heck is that? Some disease that hasn't been in the Western for at least 100 years?
Well, that's
crazy.
That's, diversity is our greatest strength. You get a biodiversity right in your own lungs.
And, someone like, it wasn't Ethan Ralph, he went to jail, right?
Yeah, Ralph did some time last year. He, And you talk about because and I think that made him a better content creator, to use what the kids say, because again, he even said this when Matt was getting exposed on his stream. He goes, "Look, man, I know what it's like to be disgraced. I went to prison for my own stupid mistake. He got drunk and punched a cop."
Oh, geez.
And it was amazing when he wrote it on his blog about it. And he had to, because he was sentenced, and I think he had like a month before he had to surrender himself, into custody to go to prison. But because a lot of times, unless you're a flight risk, they give you some time to sort out your shit, before you got to report to jail. But he said, this is my fault. This is my stupid mistake. I have no one to blame but myself. I apologize to my readers that I'm not around to do this anymore. I apologize most of all to my friends and family who I've never, whose lives are negatively affected because I have to go to, to fucking jail. He was a man about it. He owned up, and that's quite the contrast from how Mundane Matt handled his fuck up there. He pretended to own up when he was on that stream, and then and issued a half-ass apology on Twitter and Tumblr, and now is promptly just hoping everyone forgets about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't give someone like Ethan Ralph, if I met him in real life, I'd just be like, hey, it's some short guy. I wouldn't give him the time of day, especially if I knew he had a criminal record. I think that's so cool how YouTube, for all of its faults, can give someone like him, maybe not a second chance, but even like Beardson, maybe I shouldn't say it, but I guess it's like I think he went to jail before, like I don't know, like they could go on YouTube, and I think it they don't care so much about bans on the internet because they've been through something like that, so some guy who's completely soy, or like maybe me, maybe I'm trying to get the soy out of me. I can look at a guy like, like Beardson or Ethan Ralpho, just look at them normally and be like, oh, just some, short loser or something awful. I'll think something awful about them. I can really actually have respect towards them and learn something from them that I wouldn't happen in real life if I met them on the street.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ralph puts out great content too. I think he's, he's really the best at this. I think he's even better than Tonka, because again, Tonka tends to get into the fight me in real life shit too much. But he's just great at what he does. He puts out tremendous material, and he's nothing but a stand up guy. I've had, I'm hardly buddies with him. I mean, I don't know him well, but I've had interactions with him on Facebook, Twitter, on Discord, stuff like that. And I mean, he's never been anything but cool to me. Yeah, he's a stand-up guy.
Yeah, I'm saying like right now I'm doing warehouse work. If I met Beardson or Ethan, they were driving a forklift, I'd say, yeah, some dude driving a forklift. Oh, he has a criminal record. Get me a better job. I wouldn't see them versus on YouTube. Well, they're actually a creative person. They've got great insights. They're not some, cloud person like Arini talks about. There's a lot of positives about the YouTube sphere that, we feel like we spend too much time on here. I get a lot out of it. It's actually beneficial to me in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, I love the I mean, because let's face facts, we all say everybody's spending way too much time on YouTube, but what, 10, 15, 20 years ago, everybody was watching 4 or 5 hours of television a day, I mean, we haven't changed. We've just changed which particular screen we're staring at. But I would argue, by and large, the independent content you get online is a lot better than so much of what's being produced by the mainstream entertainment. I mean, I found myself, yeah. I've talked about Teddy Rubskin on here, and I'm hoping to get him on this channel at some point. It's just, he was going to be on here, but there's a scheduling conflict. He's actually open to coming on here. I don't know if he's going to be in character or not, because on his channel, he's like a teddy bear talking in this thick, I think it's like Boston accent. But his videos are awesome. It's like this foul-mouthed little teddy bear is reviewing old Sega Genesis games, and that's just cool. And I thought to myself, like, this is, this guy, Teddy Rubskin does not get enough views. I mean, he's only in a couple thousand in the view range, and that's a shame. But I'm like, this is better than 90% of what's on actual television with real budgets.
Yeah.
And this is just a guy puppeting a teddy bear, cursing at a Sega game. And it's hilarious. Yeah.
I mean, I live in Orlando, and there's a palpable difference between Orlando and Tampa, diversity-wise. I get treated, like at a McDonald's in Orlando, I'll get ignored because I'm white. And at a McDonald's in Tampa, I'll get a free chocolate sundae when I'm doing like Uber Eats and they're taking too long. And yeah, so like I don't get to meet a lot of people around here who I can have a conversation with, and they're not pulling a Jim Goad, and they just have an agenda. It's hard to meet people, especially if you're stuck in a crummy city like Orlando, like I am. So coming online, just to like see like, other people exist that are not these creatures that you have to deal with when you live in a bad part of town, or you're stuck in a certain part of the country, and like I love I grew up in Miami. I love the different people, but there's two sides to diversity, and these days it's just like, I'm over it. Like I need some people who, like think like I guess like Grattal. He's like I can get along with him, but being in a city like Orlando, it just sucks, man. And maybe I'm just bitching right now, but it's just like, wow, there's other people out there.
I've met some lifelong friends doing this. Guys that I'll be friends with likely for the rest of my days. I've met some great people doing this, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a privilege.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I'm gonna probably wrap this up because it's about 1 a.m. now, and we've gone on for nearly 2 hours. So, all right, both of you, thanks for being on. This was actually a pretty cool talk. I appreciate it, and I think
Thank you.
the viewers got something out of it. So, thanks a lot for being on. And yeah, that's about all I got for tonight, folks. If you enjoy the content I put out, do consider checking out the tip jars down below. There's the PayPal, the Patreon, the Amazon wish list. All ways you could support the show. And yeah, that's about all we got for tonight, folks. Thanks for listening. Bechtloff out.